What if I told you that the Old Testament doesn't actually teach eternal torment? There's no fire, there's no conscious eternal torture, just the grave. And if that's true, where did hell come from? And more importantly, why did God create it? Let's talk about it.
Eternal hell presents massive moral problems. Finite crimes result in infinite punishment, eternal conscious torment at that. That's not justice, that's disproportionate. Even in human legal systems, the punishment is supposed to be proportionate to the crime. And before you say, but he's God, not a human, or his ways are higher, or who are we to question God? Let me finish. Even in the harshest systems, no one is punished forever for finite crimes. If God is supposed to be more loving and more merciful than humans, then eternal torment does not fit that description. So some people will say, but we send ourselves to hell. And I'd say, what does that matter? If a parent built a torture chamber in the basement and then said, obey me or you got to go down there, it's your choice. You wouldn't say that that's loving, even if that's technically what the child chooses, right? And the main thing is that if God is loving and omnipotent, then God could have created a world without eternal torture in it. So why didn't he?
Now here's where things get historically interesting. In the Hebrew Bible, what Christians call the Old Testament, the word for afterlife is Sheol. Sheol isn't a place of silence. It's where everybody goes whenever they die, the wicked and the righteous alike. There's no eternal fire, there's no conscious torment, and there's no divine torture chamber. You see this throughout texts like Psalms and Ecclesiastes. Death is referred to silence, sleep, or the descent into the pit. The concept of eternal fiery punishment develops later, particularly in the intertestamental period that was influenced by apocalyptic literature and ideas like Gehenna. Gehenna was originally a literal valley outside of Jerusalem, and it was associated with destruction and judgment imagery, not an eternal torture dimension. The fully developed doctrine of eternal conscious torment emerges much later in Christian theology, and that is historically traceable.
Now let's bring this back to theology. The New Testament famously says God is love, but love, by definition, doesn't sustain endless torture. Even human parents, flawed ones, would never allow their child to suffer endlessly if they had the power to stop it. So either God isn't all loving, he isn't all powerful, or eternal conscious torment is not accurate. You can't hold all three of those positions without tension. And that tension is why many Christians today are reconsidering hell, leaning toward annihilationism, universal reconciliation, or metaphorical interpretations, because eternal torture is not consistent with justice, and it isn't consistent with love.
If hell wasn't clearly present in the Old Testament, and if eternal torture contradicts proportional justice, then maybe the real question isn't how could God send people to hell, but why did we ever believe that he would?